Good morning, you're watching World Business Report right here on News 9 Live. All the stories from around the world when it comes to business, finance, policy and economy coming your way in the next 25 minutes or so. So stay tuned. Wall Street's bullish momentum continues as indices secure their third consecutive week of gains, reflecting a positive turn for the US markets. Take a look at this story.
Wall Street's main indexes closed up fractionally on Friday, giving all three their third straight week of gains. The Dow nudged up marginally, the S&P added 0.1%, and the Nasdaq also ticked up about 0.1%. Despite the recent gains, Ross Mayfield, investment strategy analyst at Baird Wealth Management, says a bit more proof is needed to confirm if stocks have entered a bull market.
What you really want to see at the start of a bull market, if that's what this is a cluster of really strong days. So you might have a couple of days off in between, a couple breathers, even a couple down days, but you want to see a cluster of really strong breadth days and momentum to the upside. We've had a handful of those so far. We would want to see a few more to kind of confirm some of the technical readings that we've seen.
In company news, shares of Gap surged more than 30%, as the retailer posted better than expected third quarter results due to improving sales at Old Navy and easing supply expenses. Shares of ChargePoint Holdings, a provider of electric vehicle charging networks, slumped 35.5% after the company lowered estimates for third quarter revenue. It also named a new CEO. Shares of semiconductor chip maker Applied Materials fell 4% after a report that the U.S. Justice Department is investigating allegations the company violated export curbs to China. And shares of Alphabet and Microsoft each closed down more than 1% at the end of trading after ChatGPT maker OpenAI, which is backed by Microsoft, announced that CEO Sam Altman had been fired by the company's board, which said he was, quote, not consistently candid in his communications.
All right, we'll come to ChatGPT and Sam Altman in just a bit, but staying with the US, Elon Musk, the tech mogul renowned for his ventures in SpaceX and Tesla, have set his sights on yet another legal confrontation. In a recent announcement, Musk declared his intentions to initiate a lawsuit against a prominent media watchdog group, marking a new development in his already extensive array of legal battles. Take a look.
The launch of SpaceX's uncrewed Starship was presumed to have failed on Saturday after contact with the uncrewed spacecraft was lost. But SpaceX's owner, Elon Musk, has vowed to launch something else on Monday: legal action against a liberal media watchdog. Musk announced on his social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, that he would bring a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters for America for what he called a fraudulent attack on his company. Media Matters has said it found corporate advertisements by IBM, Apple, Oracle and Comcast's Xfinity were being placed alongside anti-Semitic content. It's seen many other major brands, including Disney, pause advertising on the platform. Musk said in a statement that the watchdog had completely misrepresented the real experience on X and created and curated the posts to misinform advertisers and undermine freedom of speech. Media Matters did not immediately respond to an emailed request seeking comment outside of business hours. Advertisers have fled the site since Musk bought it last year and reduced content moderation, resulting in a sharp rise in hate speech, according to civil rights groups. Musk himself this week endorsed an anti-Semitic post on X that falsely claimed members of the Jewish community were stoking hatred against white people. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates on Friday condemned the endorsement of what it called a hideous anti-Semitic conspiracy theory and accused Musk of an abhorrent promotion of anti-Semitic and racist hate that runs against our core values as Americans.
Stage separation.
Boosting startup.
As for Saturday's launch, that was the second attempt to fly Starship mounted on its Towery Super Heavy rocket booster. In April's attempt, the spacecraft exploded less than 4 minutes into the flight. About 10 minutes into the latest flight, a company broadcaster said SpaceX Mission Control had lost contact with the vehicle.
All right, from anti-Semitic to hate speech. Well, that got covered in the story that we saw just a little while ago with Elon Musk. But let's go a little, more granular in the details, where IBM has taken a stand against hate speech and discrimination. The tech giant has announced an immediate suspension of all advertising on X, a decision prompted by a disturbing report. The decision underscores IBM's zero tolerance policy towards such content and its commitment to investigating this unacceptable situation, as it calls it. Take a look.
IBM on Thursday said it had pulled all advertising on Elon Musk-owned X for now, after a report found its ads were placed next to content promoting Nazis. The report comes a day after Musk endorsed an anti-Semitic post on the social media platform that falsely claimed members of the Jewish community were stoking hatred against white people. The left-leaning media watchdog Media Matters said it found that corporate advertisements by IBM, Apple, Oracle, and Comcast's Xfinity were being placed alongside anti-Semitic content. In a statement, IBM said it has, quote, zero tolerance for hate speech and discrimination, and we have immediately suspended all advertising on X while we investigate this entirely unacceptable situation. Apple, Oracle, and Xfinity did not immediately respond to requests for comment. X said its system does not intentionally place brands, quote, actively next to this kind of content, and that the posts cited by Media Matters would no longer be able to make money off its content. The company declined to comment on Musk's Wednesday remarks and referred to a statement from CEO Linda Yaccarino posted Thursday, saying, X has also been extremely clear about our efforts to combat anti-Semitism and discrimination. There's no place for it anywhere in the world. Advertisers have fled the site formerly known as Twitter since Musk bought it, with civil rights groups saying the reduced content moderation has resulted in a boom in hate speech. Citing third-party data, Reuters reported in October that monthly U.S. ad revenue at X has declined at least 55% year-over-year each month since Musk took over in October 2022.
Well, revenue losses compounding there for Elon Musk's newly bought venture X, formerly known as Twitter. But something else is former OpenAI CEO Sam Altman speaks out on a potential return, shedding light on the future of the prominent AI research organization. Take a look.
Sam Altman, the just ousted CEO of OpenAI, is discussing a possible return to a company behind the ChatGPT boat, a person briefed on the matter said on Saturday. And that's even as they said, he discusses with some core OpenAI researchers and others loyal to him how they could start a new AI company. The person, who asked not to be named, said the situation remains fluid, with the prospects of Altman's return to AI still uncertain. Both OpenAI, which was co-founded by Elon Musk, and Altman have refrained from making any official comments on the matter. Altman was fired by OpenAI's board late on Friday in a move that shocked the tech world. Investors, including Microsoft, which owns 49% of OpenAI, are strategizing to prevent a talent exodus. Khosla Ventures, an early supporter of OpenAI, has expressed a desire for Altman to return to OpenAI, but has also pledged support for whatever venture Altman pursues next. Meanwhile, emotions have been running high among employees, with some considering leaving if Altman isn't reinstated.
Well, support coming in there for just ousted CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman. Staying with the US, Amazon announces a significant restructuring, planning to trim Alexa-related jobs as the company shifts its focus towards advancing AI technology. Take a look. All right, some logging off from Alexa as new AI continues to be ruling the roost at Amazon. Well, American worldwide clothing and accessories retailer Gap experienced a surge in share price, leaping 30% as the new CEO strategically shared efforts for revival in gain of investor confidence. Take a look.
Gap shares surged more than 30% on Friday as an upbeat quarter gave a fresh jolt of optimism to investors who have bought aggressively since the company named Barbie turnaround executive Richard Dixon as its new CEO. The stock hit its highest level in more than a year, and if current gains hold, shares will have nearly doubled since late July after the Mattel executive was appointed to revive the company. Dixon worked at Mattel for 2 decades and was responsible for reviving the Barbie brand, which re-entered the cultural zeitgeist this year following the success of the Barbie movie. Gap's third quarter earnings release Thursday showed significant inventory destocking, even as its holiday season forecast disappointed. Comparable store sales at its Old Navy brand rose 1% in the third quarter, their first increase in 10 quarters, after the brand languished last year due to out-of-sync inventory. One analyst told Reuters, Gap has been in bad shape for so long that anybody who brings some sort of positive outlook to the company would be good at this point. The company, like major retailers Walmart and Target, noted inventory levels have declined from last year's peak, which had been a significant overhang for several quarters. However, Gap joined other retailers in sounding a cautious note on spending heading into the all-important shopping season.
All right, let's stay with the retail story and move across the Atlantic to the UK. UK's retail sector faces a setback as sales slide yet again in the month of October, posing challenges for the country's economic recovery. Take a look.
British shoppers spent less than expected in October. Official data showed retail sales down 0.3% month on month, following on from another fall in September. Friday's update came as a surprise to analysts who had projected retail sales to rise last month. Sellers found consumers hit by the high cost of living stayed at home. They also believe wet weather later in October contributed to the decline. The figures fit with a darkening outlook for Britain's economy, where growth is stagnant and strong price pressures are now fading. Investors think these factors will force the Bank of England to lower interest rates next year. Britain very narrowly avoided an economic contraction during the third quarter. But Friday's figures showed a risk that gross domestic product could be revised lower to a negative reading. Retail sales were 2.7% lower compared to last year, again worse than analyst forecasts. But retailers hope crucial Christmas trading will bring in better times. Major sellers including Tesco and Sainsbury's have sounded confident about the run-up to the holiday period.
All right, let's see if that confidence does result in numbers and sales picking up. Meanwhile, in South Korea, prosecutors seek a jail sentence for the Samsung boss, J.Y. Lee, intensifying the legal saga surrounding the conglomerate. Take a look.
Prosecutors sought a 5-year jail term for Samsung Electronics boss J.Y. Lee on Friday. He's charged with accounting fraud and stock price manipulation involving an $8 billion merger of Samsung affiliates in 2015. Lee has denied any wrongdoing. A ruling is expected on any potential sentence within months after a trial which has lasted 3 years. During Friday's hearing, prosecutors said Lee and other former executives had broken the law to make the 2015 merger possible. The move helped Lee gain greater control of the group's flagship Samsung Electronics. Prosecutors allege the executives' involvement in the merger included stock price manipulation and other wrongdoings. They further argued this helped the accused make gains at the expense of minority investors. Lee and the executives argued the merger and accounting processes were part of normal management activities. He was earlier convicted of bribing former South Korean President Park Geun-hye and went to jail for a total of 18 months. He was later paroled and then pardoned last year.
All right, trouble there for Samsung's top boss. Meanwhile, businesses gear up as Black Friday approaches, anticipating a shopping frenzy that traditionally kicks off the holiday season. These are the top stories to watch out for in business and finance for the week leading up to Black Friday.
From Black Friday in the US to Britain's budget, these are the stories to watch for in business and finance. The crucial holiday shopping season kicks off with Black Friday on November 24th, at a time when investors are questioning whether the consumer-driven US economy can remain resilient. Data for October showed US retail sales fell, though the decline was less than expected. The forward-looking flash November PMIs due out globally should help investors assess recession risks and how quickly rate cuts will begin. PMIs for Britain and the Eurozone are already below the 50 number, suggesting economic activity is contracting. Market pricing for rate cuts suggests the Fed and European Central Bank are done tightening. UK Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt makes his autumn statement on November 22nd, focusing on boosting growth ahead of an expected 2024 election. Analysts predict the government, hamstrung by a stagnant economy and high debt, won't make any big investment pledges. A weaker yen seems inevitable, even with the Bank of Japan increasingly hinting at an end to ultra-loose policy. While gaping Japan-US rate differentials do not bode well for the yen, the shift in policy directions should at least give forward-thinking markets some pause.
All right, that's the week ahead, but take a look at the week's notable events, and figures reveal a mix of unexpected reversals and economic downturns in various sectors. Let's see.
From a big U-turn at Alibaba to a new champion in World Soccer's Money League, this is the week in numbers. About $20 billion was the amount wiped off Alibaba's market value on Friday. The stock plunged after the e-commerce giant said a day earlier that it was cancelling plans to list shares in its cloud computing division. It cited problems caused by US restrictions on chip supplies to China. 7.7% was the slide in shares for Walmart on Thursday. The biggest US retailer actually beats forecasts, but traders focused on its warning that shoppers were acting cautious going into the holiday season. Keith Buchanan at Globalt Investments says the outlook rattled investors.
The CFO mentioned one sentence that really scared the market, and he mentioned that in the last 2 weeks of October, they saw traffic and demand decline more rapidly.
2.1% was the contraction in Japan's economy over the last quarter. That was way worse than economists had expected and comes amid weak consumption and exports. The number gives the Bank of Japan an even bigger headache over how and when to exit from negative interest rates. 16% was the slide in quarterly revenue at Lenovo. The world's biggest PC maker is suffering after the end of lockdown-driven demand for tech gear. Its sales have now fallen for 5 straight quarters. And almost $1.9 billion is the brand value of English soccer club Manchester City. That's according to estimates by researchers, and makes it the most valuable brand in world soccer, overtaking Spain's Real Madrid. Man City takes top spot after a decade of dominance on the pitch.
All right, so let's move on. Celebrities. Celebrities steal the spotlight at the GQ Gala, dazzling in glamorous attire and making a statement at the high-profile event. Take a look at these visuals.
I haven't felt the pressure this time round, but maybe I should. Maybe it's the jet lag that sort of helps.
Stars from the world of films and OTT drama there. But let's move on and stay with entertainment. The stars shine bright even at the first ever Grammy Awards held outside of the US. That's right, the Latin Grammy Awards, marking a significant moment in the music industry. Take a look.
Latin Grammy? What is Latin Grammy? From Latin people of the Latin countries. We are Latinos. How wonderful that Spain has succeeded in this, that it is Seville, that we love Seville. And then the next year, it might be Buenos Aires, in Mexico City, in Bogota, in Caracas, in Lima.
Well, those of us from around here are very proud that the Latin Grammys are being held here. We are freaking out. We are super happy. I think we have a very important and very special culture to make people and artists from other countries discover, and I think they are also enjoying it very much.
Seville is the birthplace of flamenco. Imagine representing what you have inside you and that people like it and are enjoying it. I'm very proud.
Well, Latin Grammy is there, and if you thought Halloween was over, think again. In Slovenia, the Krampus parade spooks locals as Christmas devils take to the streets in a unique and chilling tradition.
Vsekakor povemo seveda na velikem ekranu, iPad skupine I začenjajo, da so narejene ročno, tovarjajo vsega. Vse maske so izdelane ročno in se lahko vleče na volčjo kožo. Pride otroke obdarujejo, poredne pa Milmaša, Stetelko, Hačov in spod Konsle. Najstarejši maski so stare starodavne Škofjeloke. Hudobni duhovi obstajajo od leta 2015, vendar pa je tradicija. Torej, prva zasedba, sicer pa lahko letos spremljate tudi na velikem ekranu.
Well, on that fairly spooky and chilling note, that's it from me on World Business Report. I'll be back again tomorrow, but don't go anywhere as news and updates continue after this very short break right here on News 9 Live. Thanks for watching.